Hey, what up? What up? What up? Happy football season. Justin, what's up, man? How we doing?
Happy football season, Ryan. The time is finally here. We're in September. Air's getting a little chillier, and yeah, here we are.
This was so we decided to go live. You got kids. We had to figure out exactly the best time to do it. Uh, Jalen Carter spits on Dak. Cowboys go down the field. They're up 7-0. It looks decent for the over. Looks good for the Cowboys. So probably the Eagles win 24-10 by the time we're finished. That's usually how these games play out once you think things are going your way.
What a start to the football year.
Jeez, I cannot believe he spit on him. Like, I know you didn't see it. You came on right after.
I need to go see a replay ASAP. But that's wild.
Just clearly spit on him. Sometimes you can't tell. I guess.
Did Dak do anything first, or did Carter just decide?
Chit-chatting. I don't know what he said. I mean, it could have been something, but wild. Just wild. Maybe he thought he was going to get away with it. Cowboys go right down the field. So anyway, let's roll. We're going to do Ravens each week. That's why you're here. It'll be therapeutic for both of us throughout the season. So we can
start out with that.
and then we'll get your 5 bets at the end of each pod for the upcoming week and see how you do. We've been picking the games now for, getting old. Picking them forever.
Long time, 38 plus years since we were kids.
Right. So, all right, let's start, man. Let's get right into it because feels like forever. It's been since 2019, since the MVP year. I don't think there was expectations if you go back to Lamar's first MVP year, coming off that Chargers playoff game. It was kind of like, we'll see what happens. But ever since then, it feels like we've been just in this climbing up this mountain here. Do we finally get there? What's your overall take going into the season on the Ravens?
I mean, overall, I don't mean to be biased, but I've been a Ravens fan my whole life. So have you. But the roster, our team, it's loaded. I'm just gonna say it, unbiased or biased. We got weapons everywhere on offense. Defense has playmakers. Picked up a few additional playmakers from an already solid defense last year. Zach Orr coming into a second year can only get better. He had a rough start to the first half of last year. That happens a lot of times. The same exact thing happened to Mike McDonald a few years back on this same team, and he ended up getting a head coaching job. Seems to be a theme for Ravens assistant coaches. We just build a good tree there, and they branch out and end up going to different teams, and then we plant the seed again and redo it, and here we are. I mean, the sky's the limit. I think we're the best team in the league. Does it mean we're definitely going to win the Super Bowl? No. Do I think we have as good a chance as anybody? Absolutely. It's eventually, when you keep knocking at the door in life or in sports, it will happen. Peyton Manning, it happened with him. Took a while. He kept making the playoffs, not succeeding. Couldn't get over the Brady hump. You think about other sports, Red Sox forever would make the playoffs and falter until eventually it just happened. It's one of those crazy things about life. So
what do you say?
I'm as confident as anyone. This is the year.
So let's zero in on the weapons because Flowers, I don't think there's really a contrarian opinion to have on him. He's only going to get better, hasn't gotten paid. He should thrive. Where are you at with Bateman? He got paid in the offseason. Do we see the best version of Bateman and lead that into Hopkins? What kind of version of Hopkins do we get? Because last time we saw him, just wasn't getting too much separation for Kansas City. They opted not to bring him back. So why don't we start with those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, Bateman, last year was his best year, definitely by far. He broke out a little bit, and he's become one of Lamar's stretch the field kind of guys. I mean, he had 9 touchdowns. I bet half of them were 30, 40-yard bombs pretty much. And I think they've helped each other. Bateman has helped Lamar develop his long passing game, and Lamar has helped Bateman just by getting him the ball and giving him his opportunities when he can. I think he only had like 45 catches or so, but he had 9 touchdowns. That's a touchdown per 5 catches, which is pretty high. I think Bateman will continue to improve, and we have so many weapons that it's not like any one guy has to do it all. And we haven't even talked about the running game yet. We're just right now just in the passing game. Hopkins doesn't even have to do that much. I foresee him getting on the field for maybe 50% of the snaps and making a few catches each game. Sometimes we'll get a big first down on 3rd and 10. Handful of times will be a good red zone target for Lamar, just because he's got the ability to go up and get the ball. He's a big guy. I think he's a mismatch for a lot of defenders. And then obviously we haven't even talked about the tight ends yet.
But. Right. So you got Andrews, you got Likely, who won't play this week. He'll be back in a few weeks. And, I wanted to set it up by going with the weapons first, because the run game to me is why they should be unstoppable. I hate going backwards and watching the Bills game and thinking about what happened, but the situation call. I don't go back and think about the play calling. That was 2 years ago, the Chiefs game, where the play calling was the issue. The running game should be so dominant that if the passing game is enough of a threat, move the chains. I think you make a good point with Hopkins as far as a red zone target. Probably won't see the field a tremendous amount relative to Bateman and Flowers. They'll have a lot of 2 receiver, 2 tight end sets. And with Ricard out there, he won't be out there this week, looks like, but he'll be out there most of the time.
I didn't know that until this week, that he was even a threat to miss it. And it looks like he might not play.
Yeah.
But.
It's a difficult situation, but I don't know if it's the end of the world, because actually we'll get into the Bills in a second. But all right, let's go to the running game. Let's save Derrick Henry for the end of it, because that's the obvious point. They have solid running backs to back them up: Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, Ali. So that's great. But I think it's the offensive line that I'm most excited about. Stanley got paid, but he didn't really get paid. It's essentially another 1-year deal, right? Like he's.
Yeah, he took a deal that, he essentially deserved, but he didn't get overpaid, or else he would have had to go elsewhere. He kind of took a little bit of a hometown discount, and he wanted to stay and win. But he's a solid player for sure.
And then at the end of the year, he's eligible for one of the big contracts. Most likely, we move off of him. We'll see what happens at the end of the year. Voorhees gets the start at left guard. Why don't we stop there? What do we think of him?
Yeah, I've heard good things of him in camp. I think he came into the league with high expectations, but he had an injury happened to him. He didn't really I think he was projected to be the starter last year, if I'm not mistaken, at some point during camp, and then an injury happened, and we had to shuffle around a little bit. But I've only heard good things about him.
Exactly. Then the anchor of the lines, Linderbaum. He's in the same boat. He's got to get paid too. So highly motivated. I like to think about that. I try not to make everything about money, but it just kind of is what it is when you haven't gotten. And when we say we haven't gotten paid, we're talking about that big contract. So that's where Linderbaum's at. Falele is a monster. He gets a lot of the negative pub because people, we have Twitter and you can find bad plays. But overall, if you watch him, I like him a lot. And then Rosengarten's, after he got mic'd up and
he got Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I was going to say he's so easy to like. I just feel like the offensive line should gel. They bring back everybody. And, let's just get to Derrick Henry, because he's my favorite. Okay, so your favorite Ravens, first of all, most of my favorite Ravens are like when I was a kid, right? Now, like when you're 5, 10 years older, 15 years older than these guys, it's a little
weird.
And Derrick Henry's only been here for 1 year. However, he's the easiest person I've ever rooted for, like just because of the work ethic. Because of the desire to win, and he hasn't gotten over the hump. Lamar still probably realistically he's got 10, maybe 15 years with all the advancements, things happen. He could play forever, right? But Derrick Henry's got his body's in ridiculous shape.
Yeah, I feel like just to pause there. I think where you're going, but some people might think Henry will hit a wall eventually. Even I was a little skeptical when we signed him. I was like, oh, how much has he got left? But you have to really hone in on what he does with his body and his workouts and his diet. And he's a different animal than almost there ever has been. He just turned 30. He might have 3-4 years left. Especially, and I'll just caveat, on this team, we don't even need him to do everything at all. We could give him 15, 20 touches max some games. We have, like you mentioned, we have so many other running backs we give the ball to. Obviously, Lamar is a running threat. And a lot of times, just we'll call it what it is, a lot of times we're up big in the fourth quarter and don't really need to use him. He can rest, and we save his legs for the next week and the next weeks to come after that. So we really don't need to ride him into the ground at all.
They really set themselves up to be extremely dominant. If the schedule wasn't so hard out of the gate, it'd be easy to start predicting 14, 15 wins because there's no holes. By the time you get to Lamar and you think about how does he fit in, if you just blindly look at the weapons of certain teams and you're like, what quarterback could you just like slot in there for that team?
Right.
And it's like, is it Allen? Is it Lamar? Is it Mahomes? Is it sometimes Burrow? I think it's 3 and then Burrow. But regardless, on the Ravens team, it's perfectly built for Lamar. He's built himself up. Again, super easy to root for. The only thing, and this is what I wanted to throw at you and what your thoughts are, because it felt like the Ravens created this now run dominant trend that we see over the past few years. Everything's kind of shifted towards quick passing game. Now everybody had these quick corners and safeties, and then all of a sudden that Ravens 2019 team with no weapons essentially just ran down your throat. Yep. And you saw Washington basically run a lot of what the Ravens were doing in 2019. And then the Eagles arguably perfected it, right? They took what the Ravens were doing and then added the tush push, and then they added even a more effective passing game. Will Lamar run enough for the Ravens to win? Because I wonder if it comes down to that. I wonder what his mentality is. That's the only thing I get a little anxious about is we end up in 2nd and long and 3rd and long way too often. Like if you told me every team was going to start at 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, I'd feel better. Give us 2 plays to get it. What's your take on Lamar's maturity level in the pocket, his footwork, reading it? What have you seen and what do you expect this year?
I mean, last year was one of the best quarterback performances by a player that I've seen in a long time, and not just by us. And I grew up watching Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. They were obviously great, but the way Lamar developed last year, especially, and credit to Monken, he probably worked with him, worked his butt off. He's turned into a pocket passer first. He wants to get the ball downfield. He wants to find open guys, and just little leg off of that. We create some of the most separation with receivers in the league. Like Lamar's finding wide open guys. Mm-hmm. Bateman and Zay, I think, we're in the top 10 in the league with separation rate. And that's credit to the whole offensive scheme that Monken's come up with and Lamar executing the plays and getting everyone out there. And I think, just the threat of his legs and Henry on the field only helps that. And so I think all of that combined with Lamar getting older and more mature has really helped his maturity level, both in the pocket and if he has to find a lane and escape some players and run for the first down. He obviously can do that too. It's a really hard offense to control and to stop. Even on those 2nd and 3rd and longs that you mentioned. I still think last year we probably had some of the top 3rd down success rate in the league. Not that last year is not really a predictor of this year's success, but we have a lot of the same guys, even an improved team, and it's really hard for other teams to contain it all.
Felt like if there was a 5th quarter in that Bills game, we would have won in the playoffs.
Yeah, it took us. Yeah, it was a little. We don't have to go.
Defensively, I don't know if I've been more excited about a defense, in the post Ray Lewis era than this defense. Talk about just depth all over the place. I want to start in the back end, and then we'll work our way up because Wiggins, Humphrey, Alexander may or may not play. I think he's going to play. We'll see what happens.
He practiced fully today. He's leaning positive news.
Good. So you got those 3 guys. Those are your top corners. The depth is solid behind those corners. Then you got Starks, the rookie. He's going to be my new favorite player.
I was going to say the same thing about him. He just seems like a likable player, just like the guys can be next to him. Hamilton, they've already started working together a lot. I listened to a podcast where Starks talked a lot, and he said how much Hamilton has helped him.
Yeah, it's nice they paid Hamilton because they can't pay everybody. I alluded to Stanley and Linderbaum, and then we'll get to Roquan, and you got Humphrey. So they made the decision already to pay Hamilton, and then they'll basically figure it out. They got Flowers lurking. A lot of things have to happen here after the season, but continuing with the defense on the secondary, it's just loaded on the back end. That was the weakness last year. Felt like Brandon Stevens. I was surprised the Jets paid him what they paid him, but that's the Jets.
I was too.
Yeah, he just wasn't very good. Humphrey had his best year. He's going to want one more contract. He needs another big year. Hamilton's probably one of the 3 or 4 best players in all of football and defense. The Roquan, the run defense is what failed them last year in the playoffs. So I think they'll be highly motivated. They got Tavius Robinson, who I'm mentioning him early because for whatever reason I always forget him as I go through the defense. I love the
Yeah, he came on really strong at the end of last year. He looks like a baller.
And then I like this Buchanan kid. I know Simpson's going to get the start, but Buchanan really popped in the preseason. Yeah. I like him a lot. He's from California, I believe, 4th round draft pick. So the linebackers are that's kind of, they lost Malik Harrison. He went to Pittsburgh. He was an underrated good run stuffer, but I think I don't know if it's going to be the biggest deal in the world. And then on the front, it's just like super solid, right? Broderick Washington doesn't get a lot of pub. One of the better edge setters, won't get a ton of sacks.
Travis Jones.
Yeah, Travis Jones in the middle. But then Matabuke's numbers were down. That's because he got all the attention. They got Van Noy's pass rusher. They got Oweh's pass rusher. They're just it's just guys on top of guys, it feels like. What do you think, though? Where's somebody under the radar, or who are you looking at where maybe there's a weakness? Because I just don't see it. I like the backups, too. They got Jenkins, the nose tackle, and Peebles, the rookie. I probably forgot a guy or two as I was rolling, but go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, clearly we got a lot of talent across the board, every line on defense. If you got to go nitpicky, see where there could be a weakness. It could be the depth up front, possibly, if someone gets injured. We don't have Pierce anymore. We'll see how some of the young guys develop. But I mean, yes, if I had to say something, maybe the run game's a little susceptible. I mean, the secondary on paper and what I think, it's one of the best in the league. Obviously, Jair can get banged up pretty easily, it seems. That's just been his history. But we also have Cheeto that we signed from the Titans as kind of our 4th guy who can come in and play if we need him to. It's just pretty. Again, it's pretty stacked all around.
Buffalo beat us last year, obviously the turnovers, but they ran the ball too well against us.
Correct. The turnovers we had, and
but the Eagles also against us. But besides that, the worst loss of the year was the Eagles. I mean, as far as like, damn, that was like a weakness, right? They just ran the ball right down our throat, couldn't get off the field, couldn't get Lamar the ball back. I love our team. All right.
I just want to mention one thing, because this is a big thought I've had about the defense and where it needs to go to get us to the next level.
Turnovers?
When you think When you think about the losses we've had in the playoffs, obviously our offense and Lamar have not taken great care of the ball, and that's caused problems. But on the flip side, we need the defense to step up and also create some turnovers the other way. Because if you look at the stats in Lamar's playoff era, the turnover differential on our team is insane, we have not created a lot of turnovers.
You said
that's where I think this offseason we kind of made some conscious moves to get where we need to go in that stance. Jair can make plays when he's healthy and out there. We got Mike Green, who's looking like
there you go. I forgot
a beast out there, who can hopefully develop as he goes throughout the year, and later in the year can create some plays, create some pressure on the quarterback. We need to also take the ball away. It's not all on the offense and their fault. They can't turn it over as much as they have, but we also need to create turnovers the other way to kind of even the score a little bit. Even if it's close to even, we're better than any team. We just are. We'll outgain them. So I think that's the key.
Yeah, the turnovers are. It leads into the gambling, because when you're betting on these games, I always say most of these games are 50-50 in the NFL, meaning they really could go either way, even if the score looks like a blowout. If you really watch the game, there's so many plays, and usually involves the turnovers. Not that it's all luck, but sometimes the ball's just got to bounce your way. It certainly hasn't bounced their way. In the past handful of years, the game we didn't deserve to win the most was the Derrick Henry game, as the Titans ran down our throat. Besides that, it feels like the ball just didn't bounce our way a few times. But all right, let's go to the Bills. What are your thoughts on the Bills? Then we'll do the matchup overview on Buffalo they've been knocked. I mean, it's the same story as the Ravens. Last year, everybody predicted the Bills were, if they were going to take a step backwards, it was going to be last year. And instead, they get arguably as close as they've been, right? Because that 13-second game or whatever, when they lost to the Chiefs, that was still the divisional round. Last year, they were ready to win, couldn't get it done. Talk to me about Buffalo. What do you think about them?
Yeah, obviously they're a good team. They are, but I don't think they have the weapons on offense. They have a decent offense, and James Cook was a really good semi-surprise last year for them. Him and Allen were almost as efficient running the ball as we were. Just that 1-2 punch was great. They don't have any really big name receivers. Like they lost Diggs. That's where people thought they would kind of fall back a little bit. And they didn't really fall back really much at all. Allen played a great season. He obviously ended up MVP, whether people agree with that call or not. And they're a solid team. They are. But they come from a weak division. They obviously have a great home field advantage. I think that definitely plays well for them. But I think they're a little vulnerable, both in their offensive outside weapons, like receivers, tight ends, and on the back end of their secondary. I know they have, I think, Benford, the top corner, but besides that, they're don't have much.
Yeah, they're banged up. Their second and third corners, I don't think.
White didn't practice today.
And the other
a safety that's banged up, and so I don't know. I think they're vulnerable in the secondary, and I think we can take advantage of that. And one other kind of silly thing I saw, I didn't notice this at all, is their kicker's injured. He might not play.
Yeah, well, the rookie corner's also not going to play. From Kentucky, Max, whatever, Hairston, I believe his name is. So
they're banged up. They're vulnerable back there. So
the thing I don't like about Buffalo so if you told me Buffalo could start up 7-0, I would be like, man, that they might be the best team in the NFL once they get the lead, because they're just short yardage, pick you apart, quick throws. But if they get down, I don't know if Shakir has the next level to take. The word out of Buffalo is Keon Coleman is supposed to be, the breakout stud they need him to be. I like the Ravens this week, and then we'll get your prediction on it. But I like the Ravens this week for 2 reasons. I think they're both fairly obvious, but to me, this just feels like the perfect spot for them. It feels like they'll be able to run the football. They're super healthy, and the 2 intangibles just work for the Ravens. Losing last year, I think, just pisses them off. I think it helps. I wouldn't say it's a tough spot for them. I think it's like, man, the Chiefs last year was a tougher spot because they were so close to the Super Bowl. That felt like, man, they were 6-point favorites. They should have won that game. Last year, they're still a divisional round. I think that is a motivator. And then the second thing is the Lamar piece. Not only is the team motivated, but Lamar doesn't get the MVP. Lamar gets a lot of just an opportunity, I think, for him to, not that it's make a break game for him. Obviously, it's just the regular season, but it's just more motivation for him. And I just feel like it's a better matchup run offense-wise. I felt like the Bills' run defense was better in the playoffs against us for the same reason. The intangible last time was, man, the Ravens are going to run all over you. And the Bills' defense took the pride to stop it. Now I think it's like, damn, the reverse. It is a 50-50 game. Betting on it, I have a rule. I can't bet on the Ravens. That's just not part of my DNA, not in the regular season at least. But I do think the Ravens win. I think it's not a very high-scoring game. I don't think Buffalo is going to be able to move the ball against us. I got it 24-20. Go ahead, give me 30 seconds on the Ravens Bills prediction, and then we'll do your picks.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll throw out another thing out there. I haven't looked at the forecast, but I would have to guess there's not going to be any weather factor this game.
Yeah, I think it's
definitely influence the playoff game. Not going to blame it on the cold and the snow, but if that game was in Baltimore last year, it would have made a huge difference.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's going to be like 50 degrees and very pleasant. So, yeah, what do you think the final score is going to be?
I honestly, I don't want to be a homer here, but I really could see us winning the game by 10 to 14 points. I'd be surprised if the other way, if the Bills ended up winning by that margin. I think and this happens a lot of times with Ravens games, if the Bills win, they'll probably win a close game by 2 or 3 points, that we kind of make a mistake at some point and the Bills just take advantage and end up winning the game. But I think we really could dominate both sides of the ball. Like you mentioned, the intangibles, we've been waiting for this for 7 months now. Everyone is kind of talking about they're ready to kind of get back out there and reclaim this game like we thought we should have had last year.
Yep.
Lamar, Roquan, everyone, they're going to be ready. We're relatively healthy, I think a little healthier than them. We're not going to be phased out by this spot. We were in this, like you mentioned, we went to the Chiefs first game last year. It might have been a little tougher spot, first game of the year on the road against the champs. This is slightly different, but we're on the road again. I don't think it phases us ever when we're on the road.
I think the
obviously
Bills
we'd rather be at home, but we'll
Yeah.
take it on the road. I think we'll be fine in the atmosphere. I'll throw out, I think we win this game 31-20.
Yeah, I think the Bills are also a little exhausted. I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle out of the gate. They did Hard Knocks, and that Chiefs loss was demoralizing. But all right, here we go. We're gonna do your 5 bets each week.
Yep.
See how we do. And floor is yours. We'll do about 30 seconds ish on each of your picks, and go for it, my man. Here we go. No pressure.
I mean, I'll start with the one we just talked about, just because we were already listing out some stuff. But I'm taking the Ravens. We actually were a 1.5 point dog maybe a few days ago. Now it's actually flipped. We're a 1.5 point favorite. I'll throw out the caveat. My theory: any small favorites, I don't really love to do the spread. I'd rather do the money line, play it a little safer, or throw in a little bit on the spread and the money line. There's nothing worse than having a team minus 2.5 and winning by 1 or 2. It's a shitty feeling.
100%.
All the reasons we said, I like the Ravens. That'd be one of my 5. To go to some other games, I like the Browns plus 5.5 home against the Bengals. Divisional home dog. I just feel like it's a good spot. The Bengals start slow a lot. I know that's kind of their narrative. Maybe they change it. Maybe they don't. I think it's going to be a close game, and I'll gladly take the 5.5 with Flacco under center. He's very familiar to playing against the Bengals. I like the Browns plus the points there. Next one I'll take is the Jets plus 2.5 home against the Steelers. This is the battle of the quarterbacks going against their former teams. Justin Fields against Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers, I feel like they could go one of 2 ways, and I lean the second way. They could be, if Rodgers plays anywhere near what he's done in the past and they keep his pocket nice so he's got room back there, they could make some plays. But I don't really trust their offensive line. I think Rodgers is going to be a statue back there, get sacked a lot, get hit a lot. He's going to get flustered. I think the Jets is a small home dog. See Justin Fields go against his former team, make enough plays in a low-scoring, close game. And then this team I'm pretty high on. I don't know how many people are thinking about this team, but I really like Carolina this year. I liked what I saw towards the second half of last year out of Bryce Young. Something clicked, and he's really turned it on. I think he could end up being a better quarterback overall than Stroud, which would be very funny because a year ago when Stroud won Rookie of the Year and Bryce Young was being written off, people were like, why did Carolina take Young over Stroud? And everyone was throwing that out there. I really like Young. I see a lot of potential in him. And I don't think Jacksonville is there yet being worthy of a 3.5 point home favorite. They're not the type of team that has a big home field advantage. So I'll gladly take 3.5 points with Young and Hubbard and a hungry young Panthers team. So that's was that 4? Yeah, that was the 4th. And then the 5th and final will be the Lions. Actually, plus 2.5 at the Packers. This is one of the better games of the week. Obviously, 2 hopeful playoff teams. The Lions, I know they lost both coordinators. It could be a problem initially, but they still got Dan Campbell. They still have one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Detroit has kind of turned into a team that doesn't matter where they play. They used to only be like explosive at home, and now they've kind of turned into a ground and pound team, a team that likes to play defense, a team that likes to get after the quarterback. They really can play anywhere. So I'll gladly take the points there against a Packer team that's solid, but another one, I think it's a coin toss. I'll take the points. I think the Lions slightly have the edge, and I think can win the game.
Ravens, Browns, Jets. You're a sick person for rooting for the Jets and the Browns at 1 o'clock when to start your NFL season. Good for you. That's what you want to do. And Carolina.
Yeah.
I kind of like Carolina, but good for you. And then you're going to go at Green Bay, take the Lions. Who knows? My record.
A lot of small dogs. It just happen to be that way. Yeah. Those are.
There you go. You're on the record.
Those are the picks. Yep.
All right. Appreciate you and enjoy the. Gotta get out of here. Watch this game. Got it in the corner of my eye. The Cowboys really going to win opening night.
Yeah. Caveat. I really did like the Cowboys plus the 8 tonight.
Dude, everybody felt like, when the Parsons thing happened, it's the overreaction.
Exactly.
Right?
You got to flip the other way sometimes. It's contrarian. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, Dallas is done. They know Parsons, Eagles, Super Bowl champs are going to come out like this and that. I thought it'd be a close game. I gladly like the 8.
Again, 14-7 Dallas, 13 minutes left. I like the over. That feels good. Feel better when I said 7-0 to start this pod, and then maybe it was going to crap in my face. I'd feel really.
What was the total?
I got it 47.5. I think I saw it went all the way to 48.5. I always remind people that when you're betting these totals, just pay the juice for what you want. As hard as it is not to be, you don't want to be influenced by the lines. I would say the totals is a little bit more challenging to kind of guess what the total is going to be. But if you like with all these sports books, you just buy the points now. Like it used to not have that flexibility, but you can just really get any line you want.
Yeah, you can shop around the sports books. You can shop around the different lines there, and that's to my point of I would much rather pay a little bit more juice to do a small favorite money line than do the spread when it's really low.
I asked you for purposes of us doing this, you're giving out your 5 bets based on the number, but when it comes to putting money down on the Jets, for example, instead of the 2.5, you take the 3 points.
Right. I would love to find 3, even if it's a little juiced. Exactly. The Ravens are now favorite. I already put in full disclosure. I put in a bunch of Ravens bets weeks ago when we were the underdog, but now as a favorite, I think we're like minus 120 or minus 125 money line. That's where I would go with it.
So I can't bet the Ravens for 2 reasons. If they lose, I'll snap. If they win, I should have bet more money. So then I just won't be happy either way. All right, let me let you go so you can enjoy the rest of the game.
Yeah, you too.
I'll see you next week, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. Good luck. Hopefully you took whatever's going to win and cash here. I'm not jinxing anything, but Eagles are driving. All right, see ya.
Yep. All right, thanks, man. See ya.